as you can hear, the locals have obliged. Barely an empty seat in the venue, and there have been plenty of seats bought in for it. And there will be so many fans milling about on the hill. We know the Matildas are such a draw card. I'm sure there are plenty of youngsters who've already earmarked where on the fence they will sprint to at full time of this contest. A little gloomy overhead, but perfect weather for football, it must be said. Hopefully a high-tempo game to ensue. Both teams are going to line up. We'll hear the national anthem of Panama first, and then the national anthem of Australia.
Those who are able to please stand for the national anthem of Panama. We now ask those who are able to please remain standing for the national anthem of Australia.
So handshakes taking place after observance of the national anthems. Lots of smiling faces in the Australia lineup today, and many of them excited about getting the chance to start as well. Huge opportunities in just the third game under new coach Joe Montemuro. Tash Pryor, number 5 there, will be one of them. Centre back this afternoon. It's a 2:30 local kickoff, so real vintage sort of kickoff time, a Saturday afternoon here in Bunbury. Surface looks immaculate. You can see the Panama team there. Not play with a bit of dare. Maybe take the game on, look to score goals. The way they entertained at the 2023 Women's World Cup, albeit not winning a game themselves. So both teams breaking out of their team photos and having one last chat before they get ready to play in Bunbury. Let's take a look at how Australia line up. Just one player remains in the starting 11 from the second match against Slovenia last week. That's Caitlin Torpey, the number 8. It means that moving to the bench, Claire Hunt, Michelle Heyman and Remy Simpson, but out of the squad altogether, Mackenzie Arnold, Ellie Carpenter, Winnie Heatley, Alana Kennedy, Kyra Cooney-Cross, and also Amy Sayer and Charlotte Grant, who are rested today for load management purposes, even though they are here at the venue. Potentially up to 5 debutants, 4 of them outfielders, sitting uncapped on the Australia bench. Panama, by contrast, filled with players that played in the 2023 Women's World Cup. Watch out for Jenith Bailey, the goalkeeper. She has won the Golden Glove in a CONCACAF Women's Continental Championship, so an accomplished goalkeeper. Marta Cox, the number 10, scored against France in that World Cup and will be one to watch in attack. Joe Montemuro certainly setting expectations. It's going to be so fascinating to see a through line of his selections after the end of this 4-game window. Right now, though, players are putting their best foot forward and trying to make a good first impression. And quite a decorated coach on the other bench for Panama. Maria Antonia is 59 years old, from Asturias in Spain. She actually coached Spain to the Under-17 Women's World Cup in 2018, their first major win in a FIFA competition for women. She's also coached in Mexico at Pachuca, and now heads up this Panama team. 134 caps as a player as well in her day. Marta Cox, both in open play and over a dead ball, will be the live wire to watch in the Panama forward line. And it does present plenty of challenges for an Australian defence that is light on experience and for the most part quite young in age. Veterans like M. Gilnick leading the line will be hoping to set the tone. Australia in their green kit today, attacking the right of your screens in the first half. And it's good friends Gilnick and Chloe Berryhill that will kick things off. It's Matilda Mania in the Great Southwest. Australia against Panama for the very first time. And just the third match of the Joe Montemuro era. What are the Matildas going to show us today? Today's referee is Anne-Marie Kiley of New Zealand. Her whistle will get us started. So kick-off between Australia and Panama, and the Matildas possessing the ball straight from kick-off. Natasha Pryor on the end of Caitlin Torpey's pass here. And Torpey now going back to Tegan Micah so the goalkeeper can get a touch. And as Australia play out from the back with Courtney Nevin, I welcome to the broadcast former Matilda Grace Gill. Grace, we get to learn so much about the Matildas today.
Well, thanks, Teo. Really intriguing battle ahead of us. A new look team, 10 players, different to what we saw in that second game against Slovenia. And every single one of those players wanting to put their hand up and prove a point.
Courtney Nevin slips the ball out to Jamila Rankin, starting at left back today, and now Holly McNamara advances. Australia's first meaningful attack. McNamara with a cross, and it's been dropped in the middle. It sits up for Berryhill. Chidiac cutting it into danger. The keeper's down injured, and the referee will whistle play dead. Not the start Panama wanted, and this is a huge concern here for Jenith Bailey.
But an explosive start. It was her own player. Bailey ran into Hilary Hine at the back there. But direct football straight down the left-hand side. Direct passes as well, and we had a bit of a question mark over whether Holly McNamara would start centrally. I think in that first passage of play, that question has been answered. McNamara on the left, Gilnick in the middle. But a bit of concern for Panama early on.
The reaction and the body language of Jenith Bailey says it all, and we saw on the replay how she plugged in the turf. Grace, run us through it.
Well, it's a dangerous ball, dangerous centering ball, and it was the contact with her own play and that little hyper-extension of the left knee that looked really uncomfortable. Not good signs at all for Panama, and a goalkeeper who gets an opportunity, the 24-year-old, as you mentioned, Teo, Golden Glove in CONCACAF, but not the start she wanted at all.
Nor Panama they do have two goalkeepers available as substitutes, and it's the 36-year-old Farissa Cordoba who is warming up on the sidelines in preference to Bella Mori, one of the American-born Panamanian players who goes to college in Georgia. That is Cordoba warming up here, and perhaps in anticipation of having to be subbed on, because the stretcher has been summoned, and it's dampened the atmosphere, Grace, because it was a lively first minute.
Yeah, and an early change can be really unsettling for a team. You see the stretcher being brought on already, and if you just look at the left knee of the goalkeeper as she lands after the contact, just at this moment here, really not flattering at all, that left knee. And you can understand the discomfort as she's gone to ground. But this can really throw a team off when a player, starting player, so early in a match has to be taken from the field of play.
Poker face well and truly on for the coach. But in the meantime, our thoughts and concerns are with Jenith Bailey. That first cross of the game, you want to come out, you want to make an impact and dominate your penalty area. It has given adequate warm-up time here for the 36-year-old, though, Cordoba, who will be a ready voice to come in, because it looks as though this substitution is inevitable, with the stretcher being ready to carry the starting goalkeeper out of the game.
And it's a cool afternoon here at Bunbury as well. A little bit of rain before kick-off, and players just huddling around Janet Bailey, and we really hope it's nothing too serious, but seeing that slow motion replay of the left knee, a real cause for concern.
And that competition where Bailey won the Golden Glove was Panama's best finish in a CONCACAF tournament, 4th place. They've never won their own continental championship, nor would you expect them to in a region with the United States and Canada, but they did go the very long way to qualify for the 2023 Women's World Cup. They had to play in the Intercontinental Playoff in New Zealand, and they beat both Papua New Guinea and Paraguay to qualify. But this is a sad scene. You can see how upset Jenith Bailey is. So our thoughts are with her, Grace, because if it is a serious injury, it could be a significant time out of the game. And your heart breaks for a player in these circumstances.
Yeah, absolutely. And we wish her all the very best. Not the start Panama would have liked, not the start Bailey would have liked, and almost a reset, not even 5 minutes in. Can be a little difficult, just taking the wind out of the sails of a team.
And so Cordoba, who plays in Panama for the Metropolitan University of Science and Technology, is going to come on here. A veteran, though, and getting one final instruction from Maria Antonia Is before going in to lead the defence. And it's almost like kicking off for a second time. The Matildas got a ball out there. They were kicking it around amongst themselves, but it means that everyone has to reset mentally and almost start the game over again.
Yeah, total reset. Feels like 10 degrees out there, and little sleeting drops of rain as well. And it was a bright start for the Matildas, direct, looking forward early. So for them as well, the question, Hayley Russo with the captain's armband today, but the question of how they just reinvigorate, get straight back into it.
So the substitution goes through. Jenith Bailey off, and Farissa Cordoba on. And it's going to be a drop ball to restart play. And so the action resumes. As you can see, the Matildas are set quite high up the pitch. It means the new goalkeeper is going to try to boot the ball into the attacking half. Australia immediately regained possession. Rankin spinning back to Tegan Micah, still a free agent in her club football. Waiting for the right opportunity to present ahead of the new season. And will be relishing game time for the Matildas as a result. Torpy. Pryor immediately under pressure. And so's Torpy from Riley Tanner. Knocks the ball out for an Australia throw.
Well, it's high pressure coming from Panama. Looking to put the Matildas under pressure when they're deep in their own defensive half. They're one possession back well here.
And now a crossfield pass played by Marta Cox. Erica Araúz beaten to the ball by Jamila Rankin, and now Nevin. Left-footed pass finds Emily Gielnik. Great layoff. And bursting through the middle goes Holly McNamara. A tackle from behind, a foul. And McNamara's fallen on her hand, it seems. That's caused her some discomfort.
Was a great little touch from Gielnik. The little layoff, and it caught Holly McNamara at speed. But Salazar has brought it to ground. Really had no choice, as McNamara had the legs to stream away. But positive signs from the Matildas. It was exactly the play, the little give and go that we saw that had such great effect against Slovenia in the second game.
I know it's only a friendly, but maybe a little fortunate to avoid a booking there, Desiree Salazar?
Yeah, perhaps. Perhaps a last warning as well. First and last.
So a mid-range free kick for the Matildas. Plenty of numbers sent forward. Jamila Rankin is going to take it left-footed. Drops it at the penalty spot where it's headed away by Salazar, the player who conceded the foul. Now Courtney Nevin. Rankin happy to turn back to Micah, who has roamed well out of the penalty area to support the defence.
Also hear the shouts of Joe Montemuro to keep the ball. He didn't mind the pass going backwards just to retain possession, rather.
Hayley Razzo bursts away from two opponents. Now taking the entire midfield on. It's come unstuck. Tanner. Only one attacker ahead of the ball for Panama. So Gabriela Quintero is going to wait for some support to come. Tanner provides it, bursting through the left. Wants to count back. And the referee says that Tanner took the ball into touch.
It's a great look as well. Courtney Nevin playing at the centre-half position. Jamila Rankin and the left fullback position. Not a combination we've seen before, and perhaps Joe Montemuro just trialling Nevin in that central role.
Well, if it was a last warning for Salazar, it wasn't, because another foul, and not suggesting that foul alone is worthy of a booking, just a free kick. And so play restarts. Here is Nevin in that centre-back role, looking to burst in the attacking half, and now difficult pass to control for Rankin, who does so in the end. Chidiac took evasive action, and so a back pass is the result. Nevin to Micah. Now Alex Chidiac. And Chidiac gets the ankles tapped as well. So a physical opening to the game. Australia take the resulting free kick quickly, though. Torpy has Razzo wide on the right. Hayley Razzo, touch towards the byline. Goes herring after her second touch. Into the box she goes. A bit of byplay off the ball. Gielnik sends one of the Panama defenders sprawling. The Panama defensive line is able to reorganise itself as Australia takes possession. Wendy Knight is not happy with how Gielnik took her on. Might see that match up again here. Razzo, edge of the box. It's definitely shooting range, but she holds fire. Now Chidiac, Berryhill, and Chloe Berryhill can't quite play it into the path of Gielnik. And so Panama able to get numbers back and repel. Hilary Hyen down the line. Marta Cox denied the ball.
Well, it's a physical start, isn't it? You can see Panama just getting stuck into the challenges. Any moment the Matilda is on the ball, they're closed down quickly. They're closed down with a lot of pressure. But a few glimpses forward. Hayley Russo on the right, tearing into space. Chloe Berryhill just with runs stretching the field.
Well, your pre-match chat with Joe Montemuro was interesting about how Panama might pose their own threats from wide areas and be compact in the middle. So we're going to watch them in attack here. Pryor's got to deal with an awkward bouncing ball. Quintero made it a little bit awkward, but Australia clear in the end. And now McNamara against the line has been able to draw a free kick.
Montemuro spoke about using the width and using the edges, and I think that really checks out with what we're seeing in this opening 10 minutes or so. the likes of Alana Murphy. Barely any touches on the ball, and that's because possession is largely being found in those wide areas.
Over the head of Gielnik, and Panama consolidate. Karina Baltra-Breas. Riley Tanner. Every pass a little bit laboured for Panama at the moment because they've got Matilda's players right on their case. However, this time it is last touch off Berryhill. Count number 58 today for Chloe Berryhill. High-end, once, twice. And a real hospital ball to Salazar, and so Murphy can try to take possession away, but Marta Cox is there to help out for Panama. Twisting and turning on the ball, and eventually has to give up ground. You see the body language. She's trying to calm things down. The Panama captain when they're in possession, and manager on the sideline, Maria Is, not happy that they gave possession away a little easily. They get possession back here, and a good chance now for Arauz. It's been shut down emphatically by Rankin. Torpy. First touch was right into trouble. However, High-End commits the foul. What do you do in a situation like this, Grace, where it's so start-stop? Whenever you engage the opponent, you're inevitably drawing a free kick.
At the moment, we're seeing the Matildas with a lot of the ball, the lion's share of possession in their territory, but they are being closed. They're being closed aggressively.
Alex Chidiac. Rankin working in the attacking half. Holly McNamara, shoulder to shoulder, out pointed here. Alana Murphy. Saw Hayley Razzo on the right. Now Razzo stops to a standstill and waits for support from Torpy. Murphy trying to take the game on. Good stand-up tackle comes in from High-End. Outside of the foot pass. Quintero knocked off the ball. Pryor just a little sore with a knock to the foot, but quickly runs it off. Nevin to Chidiac. Chidiac working in traffic, as is McNamara. Berryhill, grab of the shirt once, twice. And Desiree Salazar has not come to Australia to make friends. It's another foul from the Panama number 6. And, well, this time, Anna Maria Kiley waves the arms expressively to say enough.
Well, I think on that occasion she is lucky to get away with not receiving a yellow card for that.
Salazar, 21 years old, from Chorrillo FC in Panama. As we see Cox back helping out the defence here. It's going to be an Australia throw.
And for Panama, it's Cox who's really dictating the tempo. We saw when they won possession back a little while back, it was her to slow things down.
Gielnik operating back to goal. Can't quite link up with Razzo, and it's a credit to Panama that ever since having to sub the goalkeeper in the second minute, Marissa Cordoba has barely been called into action. Quintero is immediately stuck in a 1-on-2. Razzo, Quintero and Tanner. Tanner just looking for a bit of space. Gets into a wrestle with Razzo. Right in front of the fourth official. Razzo can't believe it's not Australia's ball. It's going Panama's way.
We really get the sense that Panama have been instructed that any moment their direct opponent gets the ball to close with aggression. And any time the Matildas show the ball, just a little too much of the ball, or take half a touch too many, you can see that contact almost coming.
Panama building through the right. Most promising attack so far today. Quintero waiting in the middle. No slip though from Pryor. watches it flicked back up into her midriff and behind for a corner kick, and that was a bright spark there from the visiting side.
Yeah, nice move that from Panama. And a little too comfortably done down their right-hand side. Tash Pryor was positioned well for the block, but maybe a little slow to react after this first touch. Just needed to get her body in a better position and steer that out or protect it out. Ultimately, it's a Panama corner. A bit of defensive work for the Matildas here to do.
That was clever from Quintero after the run down the right side from Arauz. And so, a set piece. Panama are going to take a short corner. Into the near post it goes, comfortably dealt with by Gilnick. Tanner retrieves the ball for Panama though. Arauz, shot from distance, it's going to skim on. High end, challenging, and Murphy holds her own. And swings the ball away, and the crowd appreciates the defensive stand. So Hilary Hyen, 22 years old at the University of Massachusetts, to take the throw in. Tegan Micah, full of chat to the Australia defence as they organise. And this is going to be keeper's ball, and a good, confident claim from Tegan Micah.
Yeah, clean set of hands there from Micah. Had to be. Panama streaming numbers forward. It's good delivery into the box, but that's assertive goalkeeping.
Chidiac now. Shouts of forward, but no pass on offer for Rankin. Chidiac is going to drive it forward, though, to McNamara. Pass intercepted by Natis. And Quintero was coming back from an offside position. She's been busy so far, Gabriela Quintero, 20-year-old who's playing at the University of Texas El Paso, so a handful of the Panama team in the US college system. Majority of the squad still playing their football in Panama, but countries like Mexico, Argentina, and also Germany represented in their squad. Back pass here, and Gilnick very nearly sharked it, but Catherine Castillo was able to win a throw in at the last. Here is Castillo. Only joined San Lorenzo of Argentina just last week, so she has a new club to look forward to going and joining after this international break. Razzo coming into the defensive half and is going to play to Torpy. Pryor has to be sharp with the back pass to keep it away from Quintero. Now Nevin immediately under pressure. Panama sensing the chance to close in. Flags up over on the outer side though. And it was offside against one of the backtracking Panama players, but they've shown what's possible in that little phase there.
Yeah, just a little lackadaisical from the Matildas' defence. That back pass, not enough behind it from Pryor, just invited the pressure. And on Nevin's first touch, taking it into danger. Panama players ready to pounce.
That was eagle-eyed reffing from Makoto Bizono of Japan, who's the assistant referee over on that outer side. Panama are going to affect the press again. Cox, now Riley Tanner, edge of the box. First touch, sets up a shot, which is blocked by Pryor. Full body slide challenge. Now Chidiac. A little chip out to Rankin at left back, and Australia trying to clear their danger. Panama have grown into the game. Now McNamara to Courtney Nevin. Berryhill. And the foul is committed by Salazar. But again, a promising little phase there from Panama Grace's. Tanner had a chance.
Yeah, and really good play. Just the vision from Cox to find the square pass to Tanner. And that is crucial defending from Tash Pryor. She gets the timing right, goes to ground, makes the block. They play their way out of danger, and just physicality continues. This is where McNamara just has to keep moving the ball away from any kind of contact provided in from her Panama opponent.
So we're barely a quarter of the way through today's action, and don't forget a significant chunk of that stoppage time. So You do wonder at what minute the energy may dissipate just a little from Panama, as they've been so aggressive in the press to date.
Well, we have seen a couple of really clean moments from the Matildas when they've been looking forward. The little give and go, the touches into pressure, neat passes out of danger. The credit must be paid to Panama, who are on the spot, on the scene, every time of asking.
Tanner into the midfield. Salazar caught in possession by McNamara. It spills to Chidiac. Chidiac, Rankin bursting forward. Good strength from Rankin. The pass can't quite find Gilnick. Salazar is back up. Now Panama's turn to repel. Arauz, it's hit the referee. That'll be a drop ball. A drop ball and Panama possession live at their feet. Switched over to Baltrip Reyes. Now Hyen. Ran into trouble in the form of Gilnick, and Razzo takes the ball away. Australia's got a 3-on-2 if they're quick enough. Razzo at the edge of the box. Held up and eventually stopped. Desperate defending by Panama, and they're able to clear. Wendy Natis was crucial. Just getting a foot on the ball to deny Razzo. Chidiac now. Australia reload. Chidiac sent sprawling, free kick and shooting range.
It was a neat play by Chidiac. Did well to tidy up for the Matildas. Hayley Russell on that last little passage. I'd say a touch too many. Did do well to win possession back, and then the 3v2, as you mentioned, Teo. Hayley Russell here cuts inside and just holds on to it for a moment too long. Invites that little poke of the toe through from Wendy Natis.
See the foul count there, 8-0. Australia, clean slate. Panama racking them up. And will they be made to pay here? That's the question. Slightly offsetter for a right footer. M. Gilnick seems to have pulled rank. Will it be a direct shot on goal? Farissa Cordoba is happy with the wall that she set. So it's Gilnick standing solo over the free kick. That shouting you hear is the Panama coach from the technical area. Gilnick couldn't tip it. And to the groans of the crowd, it bounces away.
Well, that one just always rising off the boot of Emily Gilnick. A couple of genuine options in terms of free kick takers. Alana Murphy, Gilnick's Melbourne Victory teammate.
Tanner. Hurried on quickly by Gonzalez. And Australia quickly regained possession. Nevin to Torpy. Torpy to Gilnick. Can't bring the ball under her command. Marta Cox tried to start in defensive midfield, but just pushed the ball on to Chidiac, who accepted. And now Razzo, Chidiac. Hyen with a tough challenge. Murphy now. Torpy, not quite to the advantage of Razzo, and Baltrip Reyes eventually sees it over the line.
Desiree Salazar is flirting with temptation of a yellow card, pulling at shirts, late challenges coming through. A physical player, the number 6 for Panama, and you can just see the Matildas midfield skipping away from those crunching challenges in the middle of the park.
She's just got a sore right eye here, so I wonder if she caught a trailing limb of some sort. Seems okay for now to continue without the need to call the sideline. The referee is saying to Farissa Cordoba, put the ball on the ground, restart play please. And they do, with a very short goal kick. Baltrip Reyes immediately under the pump. Panama have got to do well not to cough the ball up here. Maybe conceding a corner is the best they could do from a bad situation. Very much self-inflicted.
Yeah, and great pressure, that from Chloe Berryhill. Put Panama under the pump, forced them backwards into a really dangerous area. The resulting corner, that's well worked.
And so now, a corner routine for the Matildas. It's a little bit breezy here in Bunbury, but certainly not stern winds as Caitlin Torpey sends a conventional delivery to the far post, and it's a good catch by Cordoba to defuse any Australian attack.
Yeah, nice goalkeeping. That Cordoba strong off her line, claims that comfortably. Interesting as well, just the versatility of corner takers we've seen across the course of the 3 games at least. We saw Van Egmond in the first game. We've seen now Torpey come into action. Murphy capable, Chidiac capable, Berryhill of course.
Well, the 2 left-footed takers, Rankin and Nevin as well. The Argentina series showcased that. Pryor, Torpey. He's sent into the defensive half, and Quintero was good, as was Lagazo, and now, at last, Australia concede a free kick. It's been almost half an hour of Panama being the aggressors in the game, but Lagazo giving a little bit back.
Well, Salazar gets some of her own back, and I don't mind this from Berryhill whatsoever. Shoulder, heavy shoulder at that. But Berryhill, the ultimate competitor, and maybe a bit of spice into the next 15 minutes of this first half is exactly what the Matildas need.
Interesting to see Riley Tanner is now operating on the right flank for Panama, and they've sent Erika Arauz over to the left. So they've swapped wingers, even though there's been plenty of evidence that Panama's 2 wingers have had perhaps their best avenue to goal so far against this Matildas defence. They're going to mix it up. Razzo knocks the ball on. Berryhill. Still Berryhill, allowed to advance. Torpey, a quick 1-2. Now it's starting to build. Berryhill hangs it high, and it was a little close to the keeper. Not quite a shot on goal either. It was drifting away, and Cordoba brings it into her grasp.
Easy pickings in the end, and I don't think Berryhill quite got the measure right on this one. Was probably looking to pull away that cross from Cordoba in goal. Emily Gilnick lurking there in around the 16-yard box.
Here's Berryhill again. Alana Murphy now popping up at the edge of the penalty area. Molly McNamara wants to show her burst of speed and is able to get across in. Gilnick, oh, and hit her standing leg after the outstretched right foot didn't make contact, and it slides out. And McNamara very nearly laid one off there.
Well, this is where McNamara can be so effective. Backs herself for pace, pushes it past her defender. The centre-in ball is difficult to deal with for Panama. And Gilnick just outstretched, can't quite find the contact.
So as Gilnick rues a half chance that got away, Panama have got fresh concerns, and in the worst possible position. We saw Farissa Cordoba subbed on after barely 90 seconds of action due to a knee injury to Jenith Bailey. Well, Bella Mori, their 3rd choice goalkeeper, might have to go and start warming up, and this is not great for Panama, barely half an hour into a 2-game series.
Yeah, interesting moment just over that 30-minute mark. Maybe a little chance for both sides to reset, get a couple of messages across for the next 15 minutes of play. Certainly not in the needs of a drinks break or a cooling down break. It is fresh out there, a little bit of wind across the field and cool conditions.
Well, we're going to have quite a significant amount of stoppage time at the end of this first half, you imagine. The good news is Cordoba is standing, and there doesn't appear to be a great deal of treatment being administered to the Panama goalkeeper. So the Matildas will break away from the little huddle they had formed around Joe Montemuro's technical area and return to their positions. And it appears as though they've taken the opportunity to mix things up with the front three. Hayley Razzo's run over to the left, Gilnick's on the right, and perhaps Holly McNamara is now in the middle, Grace, something that you were speculating about pre-game.
Yeah, and the flexibility we've seen in the Matildas' front line as well. Players capable of stretching out wide and then coming across to the centre of the field. Definitely keeps the opposition guessing.
Chidiac working back to Nevin. And Micah calls for the back pass. Tash Pryor with the long ball. McNamara off the chest. Chidiac following up. Panama turn the ball over. Cox trying to play Quintero through, but beyond her, Nevin mopping up. That winger swap was short-lived for Panama because Arauz, the number 7, is back over on the right flank again. And being bested by Rankin in this situation. As Nuttis puts a challenge in.
Matilda certainly with more action in their final third entries. Touches in the opposition box, haven't been able to capitalise on those moments. And neither goalkeeper tested at either end of the field. There hasn't been any real meaningful chances we've seen in this opening half just yet.
Razzo, Berryhill, Pryor. Now Torpy. Rankin. Razzo left the ball, and now the Matildas advance. McNamara in the box. And Beltrup Reyes with a good challenge, but has to steer it behind for a corner kick.
That's strong play. Hayley Razzo now on the left-hand side, combining with Jamila Rankin, finding Holly McNamara in the centre of the field. Again, the resulting corner. And can the Matildas make a little bit more of this occasion?
Just the second corner for the Matildas so far. Jamila Rankin standing over it. Rankin drifts it to the penalty spot. It skims off the head of Gilnick, who was in the process of committing a foul, and you can see bodies sprawled in the aftermath.
Delivery, the outswinger from Jamila Rankin, just glancing off the head of Gilnick. Interesting to see the shape of the Matildas. Berryhill, McNamara starting high, not allowing Panama to get their foot on the ball and attempt to play out. They want to win possession back a little further up the field.
Whistle goes against Riley Tanner, as the ball had crept over the line for an Australia throw. Torpy wants to take it quickly. Berryhill. Gilnick now working on the right wing. The 1-2 with Berryhill can't quite pull it off as it goes long for a goal kick. Berryhill, whose last international goal more than 5 years ago now, March 2020 against Vietnam. You just see how badly she wants to make an impact on the contest today. Panama with the second ball from a short goal kick, try to clear. Not even close to the halfway line though. Can Australia turn up the heat? Chidiac dispossessed. Panama a chance to counter. Australia have got 3 defenders back, but Tanner is going to try to breach them. It's Riley Tanner. Stops at the edge of the box, plays it past Quintero, who'd overrun the ball. And it's cleaned up by Rankin, who pushed it towards the line. Razzo's refusing to let it go out just yet. Arauz makes a challenge. And now tangled down next to the corner flag. Panama come away with possession. Nevin able to volley clear. And it will be a Panama ball. Last touch off Razzo.
Well, just another little moment from Panama. A promising sign forward. The release pass to find Tanner was excellent. And the retreating Rankin had a bit of work to do at the far post.
Quintero trying to take possession at the edge of the box. Courtney Nevin having none of it. Volleys it straight back out from whence it came. 36th cap today for the 23-year-old Nevin. Panama with another throw. Chidiac put a head on the ball. McNamara backtracking. Having a battle for possession. Panama can't quite prevail. Then Gilnick eventually puts a confident foot on the ball. Pryor, first thought was backwards to Micah. Micah scoops clear. McNamara can turn here. Nuttis had a little nibble but couldn't take the ball. Razzo's offside. The flag is up. And applause from the Panama coach. Right next to that, assistant referee Wina Apralana Putri of Indonesia, who is the assistant referee on the near side today.
That was a really neat play from McNamara, bringing possession down, turning and looking forward. Fine margins. And Russo deemed to have strayed offside.
Gilnick puts a foot on the ball for Australia, able to intercept the pass to the advantage of Murphy. Chidiac. Pryor. Sends it to Torpy. Torpy for Gilnick, not quite. Ball just accelerated away and ran long.
Maybe a moment of indecision on the ball from Pryor. Just allowed Panama to get set, close a bit of space. Neat play in the midfield from Murphy. Loves a Cruyff turn. Turns away from danger.
M. Husband there sitting next to Joe Montemuro, of course, formerly of the Central Coast Mariners, the current champions of the Ninja A-League. Yet to announce her successor in that role, but M. Husband has made a flying start to her time as a Matilda's assistant. Here's Berry Hill. Torpy's thoughts are backwards. Quintero saw the pass telegraphed, but couldn't quite capitalise. Now Murphy. Torpy with a firm back pass down to Micah. Pryor. Berry Hill bounces off Salazar, and then Panama have set the trap. Through comes Marta Cox, sending it through the right. Squared over to Tanner. Very tight angle, Riley Tanner. Will she go for it? Off the woodwork! Panama so close to the opener. It was a tight angle, but it did not daunt Riley Tanner. And she struck the post.
A brilliant strike from Tanner. Had a bit of time. Thought about it, stopped and propped the little step over as well. And that's a wicked strike. Ricocheting off the post. Late in this first half, a warning sign for the Matildas. There have been a few glimpses in that final third. Possession one back in midfield, creating an opportunity. Marta Cox, Salazar really dictating those passes forward.
Rankin. Pryor, the diagonal ball to Gilnick. Now Pryor back to Micah. Nevin takes on Aros and wins. Razzo now rolling away from Nuttis. Nuttis is going to receive the first yellow card of the game. And that draws the biggest cheer of the afternoon. Wendy Nuttis, the 22-year-old from San Luis in Mexico, is the first player to receive a booking.
Well, it had to be a yellow card. Hallie Russo does well to bounce off 1-2 players, but a blatant pullback. just to slow things down, and she would have known exactly what she was getting herself into, Nates, on that occasion.
She's been vitally important to this Panama defensive effort, so now has to be careful on a yellow card. Australia take the free kick short and quickly. Rankin swings it in. Berryhill stooping to the header. And it took a glance out for a corner. Panama protest in earnest. Chloe Berryhill will be happy that Australia stay on the attack.
Yeah, it's a nice chance. The left foot of Rankin can present those kind of opportunities, and watch the run from Berryhill. Just gets in front of her defender, really well timed. Can't quite get the redirection, but that's good proactive play. Searching for the delivery and just dropping in at the near post. Almost made a bit more of it.
So Rankin gets to cross another one, this time from a dead ball. Gielnik's up, it catches a big deflection. And this time it's Australia's turn to protest. Panama from a corner they thought Australia shouldn't have had. And now a goal kick where, well, to the naked eye, it definitely looked as though it caught a Panama player on the way out.
Yeah, that's a frustrating one. Blatantly a ricochet off Gielnik, which for a moment looked like a free header. It was closed down, and you can see a clear ricochet, the change of direction, the flight of the ball. Should have been another corner.
Free kick conceded by Chidiac in the meantime. There's only 90 seconds of regulation to go, but due to an injury to goalkeeper Janith Bailey early in the game, and then a bit of running repairs for her backup, Farissa Cordoba, there will be plenty of stoppage time to come, plenty of time for one of these two teams to put their mark on the game. Salazar lunging but losing out. Berryhill, late contact there, got the ankles raked across by Chandra Gonzalez. We spoke about the centre of the pitch being infrequently used. Chandra Gonzalez, the number 8, has really just been a space filler for Panama so far, has barely spent any time on the ball.
Good to see Berryhill back to her feet after that late contact. After a good defensive effort from Russo, chasing things down rather, putting pressure on.
Australia not able to make the most of the free kick though. Right on cue, here is Gonzalez, well, trying to show us what she can do, but her pass is intercepted by Gielnik. Pryor. Gielnik flicks it to Torpy. Chidiac. Courtney Nevin. Alana Murphy. Gielnik plays it to Torpy, fourth official. Lifts the board and shows 7 additional minutes at the end of this first half.
Given the stoppages we've seen, that sounds about right. It's a lot of minutes to play at the end of the first half.
Will Panama's concentration wane? They have stuck to their task so far with tough defending like that, physical commitment like that. Razzo's turn to dish a little bit out, and a yellow card comes her way.
Maybe some frustration just bubbling through. It's been a really physical first half, heavy challenges. Hallie Russo undoubtedly clipped there, leaves the leg in for the second one, and maybe a little unlucky to receive the yellow card given the initial foul.
How do you get minds back on the task here? It's been filled with fouls, start-stop, hugely physical. How do you hone in? Is it something that only a half-time team talk can recalibrate?
No, I think really the experienced players just settling things down. Sometimes it comes back to those simple moments, playing passes to the correct side of the body, keeping the ball.
Panama, that pass definitely not to the advantage of Tanner, but she's done well to keep it in. Now Riley Tanner attracting a crowd, is trying to slip it through. Quintero is going to slide it across. Marta Cox, first time shot, and did not strike it with the placement she might have hoped, nearly back onto the feet of Quintero instead. And I'll tell you what, I wouldn't mind seeing Quintero actually have a go at goal herself, because she's getting into increasingly dangerous positions.
Yeah, really growing into the game, and what we've seen play out, a picture from Panama on a few occasions, is winning possession back.
Case in point right here, Chandra Gonzalez, and that will go down as a shot on target, albeit one very comfortably saved.
Well, it's that, and it's winning possession back and then finding that break, and Panama have done that on a few occasions. And then at their last pass, they'll square the ball, find a player centrally, get the shot away. None all too convincing just yet, but it seems to be their passage to goal.
So 2.5 of 7 additional minutes expired. It's Panama starting to ask some questions of the Matildas. Salazar, the antagonist of this first half, puts it into the space of Rankin, who's able to shrug Arauz. Nevin combining with Murphy. From the goalkeeper, Australia play out. Micah to Torpy. Nevin knew that there was attackers present, and that's a hard foul on Chidiac and a yellow card, and it is Desiree Salazar who joins 2 others in the referee's book after flooring Alex Chidiac.
It was a moment of not but if but when for Salazar. His entire first half, she's late to challenges, heavy through the back. She's trying to protest that one. I don't think she has much of a claim. Chidiac knew the contact was coming, but nonetheless, that's reckless from Salazar.
Plenty said about Alex Chidiac during the Ninja A-League season that she was the most fouled player in the league, but if she had a choice, she'd rather not be. They do hurt and they do add up. It takes a real toll physically to be knocked to the floor like that, especially even when you're taking preventative measures like that, bracing for impact. Long ball here. Gilnick is going to meet it in stride. Gilnick trying to end the first half with the spectacular, but could not bend it onto the target.
I don't mind that though. It's direct play right down the middle. Had Panama on the back foot, and Gilnick certainly capable of hitting them from distance. Would have had Cordoba a little worried had that been on target.
Payen and Bartrip Reyes have copped up the ball. Chidiac, Torpy. Caitlin Torpy slides it on just beyond McNamara.
Well, it's a rare occasion we've seen Torpy that far forward and that central as well. I recall in the games against Slovenia, Carpenter at right back, who was really driving into the middle of the park. This game has allowed a little less of that. The midfield congested, so as mentioned, we've seen a lot of possession down the wide-hand side of the field, of either side of the field rather.
Murphy has her pocket picked. Chandra Gonzalez, and now Salazar switching it over. Tanner has to take the ball wide. Overlap coming from high end, but here goes Tanner on her own, bending it into the box and a volley. Well, that would have been a thrilling end to the first half from Panama, and Erika Arauz gets the high fives from teammates because that was not too far away.
Yeah, lovely move from Arauz as well, and Tanner too, to get this ball away. But Arauz does really well just to peel off her defender, draw away, create a bit of space for herself, and that left-footed volley was nice. Good contact.
Interesting technique choice to go with the open foot rather than put the laces through it. It's a split-second decision, isn't it, though? So the first half has really come to life in these 7 minutes of stoppage. Gaps starting to open up. Alex Chidiac trying to exploit them. And eventually got crunched, and Salazar not taking a backward step, even though she's now on a yellow card. We've got a Panama player down behind play. We've got a Panama player in Tanner, knocked over on the ball. All sorts of incident going on at present.
Gilnick, just a little grab. Tanner goes to ground.
That is Wendy Nuttis in the background, who is still limping, seemingly favouring something, but is she going to be okay to continue? One of the players on a yellow card in this first half. I think she's going to be all right as Panama venture forward. Torpy's header. Gonzalez crunches Berryhill. And now Cox. Little dink over the top, but no runners breaking onto it. And so, as we approach the expiration of 7 minutes, now we have another injury, and the trainers have been called immediately. And this is not a good sign for Chloe Berryhill.
Straight to ground. Went Chloe Berryhill clutching at that right knee. And you really don't want to see this at all. We'll have another look at it. Maybe that contact there. Yeah, a crunching one to the right-hand side. Heavy challenge coming through.
Berryhill able to stand back up. So the physio and the trainer will walk with Berryhill to the sidelines. This might be the last rites of the first half. Berryhill wants to rise to a jog, and of course the fans, a swell of support for Berryhill as she walks to the sideline. So there's barely seconds to go. We've now played 8 additional minutes in this first half. Micah's long ball. And the halftime whistle goes. It's been fascinating in Bunbury so far. Hasn't had a goal, but a really intriguing tactical battle. And Panama have come to play in this series. They've put their best foot forward to start the first of this 2-match series. And Australia haven't quite created the chances they may have hoped for just yet. At halftime, it's Australia 0, Panama 0. Stay with us. Your halftime analysis is coming up on the other side of this short break.
All the coaches out there, I want to see you waving at the camera. Everyone else, let's make some noise for them. Yeah, let's hear those boys, let's hear those cheers for our coaches. Thanks to Catherine. And the little rock, we all have the number one supporter who think good to do that. Whoever they are, give them a cheer and a hug.
Matilda substitutes making their way back towards the dugout. They'll have some shelter to support them. The starting 11 are back out on the pitch, and Alana Murphy and Alex Chidiac, Jamila Rankin all showing you that it is wet and it is cold at the start of this second half. The action, though, that has been red hot. 3 yellow cards brandished in the first half, and even though the game is scoreless, it is delicately poised, and it feels like more than just a friendly at this point. Desiree Salazar has been one of the keys so far. The lights are in full effect, even though it's only 3:38 local time here in Bunbury. And the Panama players, they are getting quite the experience as the away side in this one. They've had one forced change so far, with Jenith Bailey out injured and Farissa Cordoba coming on between the sticks. Riley Tanner rattled the frame of the goal late in the first half with one of Panama's and the game's best chances to open the scoring. And as the whistle goes, it's Panama who will kick off the second half, and the Matildas with the same 11 that started the match for now, as action resumes at Hands Oval in Bunbury. Holly McNamara wins an early header. Tanner fouled and a free kick given, and Grace Gill. We heard Andy Harper and Tara Rushton's thoughts on potential substitutions. We could have as many as 5 debutants, uncapped players sitting on the Matildas bench today, but what direction do you think Joe Montemurro might be inclined to go?
Well, I said from the outset, really, that this is a game that needs to be won. Despite tactics, despite personnel, he's looking for a win. So for the midfielders, finding someone who can find the back of the net, a goal scorer.
Here is Tanner. And another free kick, so a couple in quick succession.
Recognised goal scorer, of course, Michelle Heyman. We saw what an incredible performance Remy Simpson had last game against Slovenia as well. Perhaps she'll be given an opportunity. And of those 5 debutants, well, interested to see what kind of role, if any, they play this afternoon.
Wendy Nattis ran quite urgently over to the bench to grab a pair of gloves while this free kick is being set up. There's Michelle Heyman, scored the opening goal for the Matildas in their 1-1 draw against Slovenia. Here comes the Panama free kick. And it's a comfortable catch for Micah. Salazar's limping out of the field of play in the meantime and stays down. And the referee eventually whistles play dead. Tegan Micah wanted to throw the ball away, but the boot is off and things are not looking good for Desiree Salazar.
There is the boot, lost in the process. What was a dangerous ball, whipped in across the face of goal. Tegan Micah looked comfortable in slippery conditions as well, but a sure, clean set of hands. And just at that moment there, and Holly McNamara, the outstretched foot, nothing in it, just caught the back of the heel that pulled the boot off Desiree Salazar.
And as you can see there, it inflicted quite a bit of pain. And so, much like the first half, barely a minute or so in, we're having a delay. Not quite, it seems, as lengthy as the first half, though. Will Panama be compelled to make a substitution?
Time break. Rain started coming through sideways. Temperature dropped.
This is Castillo. Panama with the throw-in on the right. There's the duel between centre-back today, Courtney Nevin and Ana Gabriela Quintero. Gilnick. And the ball skims away from Cox and falls to the feet of Holly McNamara. She's on her own, though, taking on the Panama defence single-handedly. Now support comes from Torpy. Razzo trying to roll away. And turns to face the target at the edge of the box, but is immediately shut down by Wendy Nattis, who's now looking a bit more comfortable that she's got those gloves on. Torpy. And Pryor. Caitlin Torpy, an early ball this time, and good shoulder-to-shoulder bump there from Karina Balthrow-Breyes, just to take Holly McNamara out of the equation, and the ball rolls down to Bailey. Now, this is still going on down at the other end of the pitch. Panama have got a range of substitutions stretching, but it appears as though they haven't walked anyone up to the fourth official just yet. So it remains 11 versus 10. Now the paperwork has gone in, so it looks as though Desiree Salazar is going to be substituted out. But for now, the Matildas still have one extra player compared to Panama. Can they make the most of it? Pryor. Nevin. Gilnick. Now Rankin. And Rankin to Murphy. Razzo saw the run of Berryhill. However, Berryhill can't meet the ball, and it's ushered over the line by Baltrabreas for a goal kick. Chloe Berryhill, who did take that knock at the end of the first half, but is up and running just fine here in the second.
A bit of a flurry of a start into the second half. Transitional back and forth, both teams neither able just to get their foot on the ball really cleanly.
Marta Cox. Quintero is chasing, but it deflected kindly off the back of Pryor. Down to Tegan Micah. 6 minutes into the second half. Panama still waiting to make this substitution. It's going to be Sherline King who's coming on. And with that foul, that might finally be enough for King to be subbed on. One of the younger members of the Panama squad, 19 years old, went to Jones College in the United States. And here she is, Sherline King, coming on for Desiree Salazar.
Well, the second of two force changes for Panama this afternoon. 2 injuries, forcing the hand of the coach.
Marta Cox with a rangy free kick that clears the head of Riley Tanner and rolls out. And there is the Panama coach, Maria Antonia Is. Been very demanding of her team. Lots of prowling around the technical area. Really invested in this match, as is her Panama side. They've brought their best so far to this contest. Rankin's header here. Cox spun into her own teammate, Quintero. And the ball is bent in by Castillo. Easy pickings for Tegan Micah. Pryor. Saw Razzo in midfield. Passed it blind. Ricocheted off Tanner. The ball is fed out to the left. Tanner's got a chase here. It will hold up on the surface. Cuts it back. King, the sub, takes a little sidestep. And then Tanner gave herself up in an offside position, but the flag is raised regardless, even though the Panama winger was trying to take evasive action.
There's been a nice connection across the course of the game between Cox and Tanner. Marta Cox in the middle of the park, really good vision. Just has the ball on the string and releases Tanner, who's been really lively. Has kept both Caitlin Torpey and Tash Pryor alert to her danger.
Haley Razzo, 98th cap today, so closing in on 100. Getting the honour of captaining the team from kickoff for the first time today. Jamila Rankin veering into midfield, tries to set through Holly McNamara, immediately pins it in a 2-on-1. And again, things that Coach Joe Montemuro had talked about pre-game, the fullbacks coming into the midfield, not just creating overloads out wide, but overloads in the middle.
Yeah, and I like that play as well. Good play from Rankin. The drive inside and the pass had good weight behind it to find McNamara, who had 2 defenders either side of her. Tricky situation.
And the result is Australia's first corner of the second half. Torpey takes it short to Razzo. Now back to Torpey. Rankin. Blocked by Tanner. Australia with the numbers to regain possession, but Panama's defensive line breaks back out. And Gielnik left flat-footed by that pass. So ticking up to 10 minutes into the second half now, and Australia struggling to find a bit of attacking fluency at present. Quintero hugging the line, and eventually the ball found its way out. It will be Australia's throw down at right back. After much consternation, the throw-in is being taken from a place that the referee is happy with by Torpy. Now it's back out again. This time, Panama's ball.
Well, both teams with substitutes warming up at either end. And as that 60-minute mark creeps a bit closer, to say we'll see changes, especially from the Matildas. Panama, as mentioned, have made 2 already, forced changes at that.
King, Tanner, neat 1-2. King coming on with intent. And now Cox playing it out into space. Castillo, a bending cross, battered away by Micah, and she's been wiped out by Quintero. She got tunnelled there and has hit the ground hard as a result.
Yeah, really heavy contact. It's brave goalkeeping by Micah. It's a good ball put into a difficult position. Micah's off her line with so positive intent, but the arriving Quintero, heavy contact through the side. And that's clattered Tegan Micah. Those ones hurt.
Quintero leaves the scene having committed only a foul, no booking to go with it. Tegan Micah's drawing in the deep breaths. It's a heavy landing.
Heavy landing. I'd say as well, the wind just taken out of her. And they're the deliveries that are really tough for defenders back facing your own goal. Micah didn't get the protection she might have needed, but it was a really good, assertive bit of goalkeeping. She had to make the contact with the punch and did so really well. She's back to her feet, which is really positive to see.
And the physio goes and resumes the seat on the bench. The trainer didn't have to come out here for Micah. You can see it's made quite an impact, though. Joe Montemoro continues the discussion on the sideline. What exactly are they pondering here when it comes to changes? Tegan Micah is taking every second the referee will afford her here before restarting play. And now we're back live. Berry Hill in a wrestle. Razzo. Nevin, first time ball. Hyen. Tanner, trying to flick it on for King. Closed down by Murphy. Pryor. Quintero made a presence, and now Marta Cox, the ball is breaking kindly. Cox, saved by Micah. The follow-up from King. Panama lead. Bunbury rocked, and the Matildas shocked. And it's one of the subs, Shirlene King, the 19-year-old that has Panama celebrating.
Well, massive, massive moment for Panama. And they've been testing, they've been warning across the course of this opening 60 minutes. A little tussle on the Harvey Norman replay, not dealt with at the centre of the park. And this is exactly who you want there, Marta Cox. A solid save from Micah. The follow-up, not dealt with, simply not dealt with. Shirlene King comes on as a substitute, and she makes no mistake from that area. A thundering finish past Tegan Micah. And Panama, they take the lead.
You can see what it means. Only on because of a forced change as well to Desiree Salazar, but that just speaks to the mindset of Panama and how they've approached this game. A substitute who wouldn't have been told to go and warm up until the player got injured on a few minutes' notice has really come on and changed this game. And now the Matildas are looking for a response. Razzo, can they hit back straight from kickoff? Hayley Razzo, Berry Hill, and the shot is clear off the line. Chidiac is foiled. Heroic defending by Hilary Hyen. Chidiac can't believe it.
Well, so close. The Matildas so close to having a right of reply. It slips through defence. A nice little touch on the inside from Berry Hill. And that one tempts fate at the far post. Chidiac searching for her third ever goal in a green and gold shirt.
Game's really opened up here. Riley Tanner, we saw her rattle the post in the first half. And this one flashes just wide. A good chance and not taken by Panama. Tanner argues for a deflection, but not to be.
Well, she's continued to threaten all game, Riley Tanner. She's looked lively. She's looked mobile down that left-hand side. And every time Panama find the release pass. This is a wonderful clearance by Hilary Hine. But every time they do find Riley Tanner, she looks to create something for Panama.
And now Tegan Micah has taken a knee. We saw the heavy landing she took. The goal came just a moment later. Australia has readied 2 players, one of whom will be an international debutant, the other completely at the other end of the experience scale. Michelle Heyman and Adriana Taranto. What a story this is from Taranto. Suffered a torn ACL during the 2023-24 Ninja A-League season. Came back to play for Western United in barely 10 months, Grace. Barely missed a beat. Finished the season with Western United. And now here she is at 26 years of age. She played for Australia at under 17 level 9 years ago. And this is her first taste of a national team at any level since.
Well, reward for hard work. Adriana Taranto, an incredible case in coming back from an ACL injury in such wonderful form. A good season with Western United. And this is an opportunity, a rewarded one for hard work. A massive congratulations to Adriana Taranto.
The question is, will it be a double change or a triple change? And will it involve the goalkeeper, Tegan Micah? Because the trainer is out continuing the assessment. Australia have got the outfielders ready to make their changes in the meantime. And it's Western United teammates. Chloe Berryhill giving big congratulations to Adriana Taranto. And Michelle Heyman is coming on here for Hayley Razzo, and it looks as though there will be a exchange of captain's armband as well. But it's a proud moment here for Taranto, and a proud moment for Essendon Royals, her junior club. The Football Victoria NTC, Stefan Busso, her coach in that program. Calder United, and of course Mark Torcaso, the Western United coach who revived her career.
Well, Matilda's cap 239, Adriana Taranto, a very special moment. And this too for her teammate, Chloe Lincoln.
So it's going to be a triple change for Australia. Chloe Lincoln's coming on for just her second cap. And where the first one in that friendly in Geelong against Chinese Taipei was a bit of a procession at the end of a one-sided win, this is a situation where we're going to learn a lot, Grace, about this young talent who's been earmarked for great things.
Well, she's a wonderful talent, Chloe Lincoln. And you're spot on, Teo. Earmarked for great things in a national team jersey. Just the one appearance so far. This afternoon, her second. A young player, a well-deserving player for her time. We do hope Tegan Micah is okay as she's exiting the field of play, because she has been excellent in recent months, Tegan Micah. But here's an opportunity for Lincoln, and she's certainly up to task.
So Lincoln starting a new phase of play, which has already broken into the attacking half, and a free kick drawn by Torpy. Triple sub. We've talked about the players coming on, Heyman and also Taranto, but what about the departure of Razzo and Berryhill and how that's going to look different for the Matildas now? We'll come back to that. Taranto, first touch in a Matildas shirt, but gives possession away. And now Panama looking to counter in the other direction. Arauz. He's got the outside runner going. And Catherine Castillo. Torpy, it's a shallow clearance. Here's the goal scorer, Shirlene King. It's got support coming from Hilary Hine. Hine is able to win a throw-in, and Panama stay on the attack. Ball bouncing to the edge of the box. Quintero dispossessed. Cleared only as far as King. Hine. Panama walking tall at the moment. Cameron Torpy interrupts to put the ball out once more. Heyman, first touch for Australia's other outfield sub. Back pass all the way down to Lincoln, who has swapped the green and black of Western United for Brisbane Roar next Ninja A-League season. That's where she'll be plying her trade, just 20 years of age. And she's under pressure right here, as is Nevin. Arauz, well, got the last touch, the Panama player, but they really are daring to take the game on and commit some numbers forward at present.
And why not as well for Panama? Great strength shown on the ball by Courtney Nevin. Had the approaching player put her under high pressure. And they're ready to lunge as well. Panama right on the edge of the 18-yard box.
Tanner now trying to capitalise after a shallow clearance. Square ball intercepted by Pryor. Jumped again. Gonzalez this time, but another chance for Australia to go forward. Chidiac tucks it inside. Gilnick now playing on the right wing with Heyman on. All the way back to Lincoln.
Of course, Chidiac and Gilnick departing after today's game. Not available for the fourth of this series.
Yeah, Gilnick with a new club in Mexico to go and join. That transfer happening in the week between the international games. Here's Heyman. King sends it out to the right side. Castillo. Panama not sitting back on a 1-0 lead by any stretch. They are still taking this game on. And as Nevin goes to ground, no whistle seemingly to her aid, and the decision is a corner kick.
It's a big 20 or so minutes coming up for the Matildas. Michelle Heyman having taken the captain's armband as the longest serving Matilda out on the field of play. Her leadership, her goal scoring, but right now her defensive duties as well.
82nd cap for Heyman, who celebrated her 37th birthday yesterday. Right now, though, the thoughts are all about defending rather than scoring, and Heyman is right there to block that ball down and clear. Aroas steps around, Hyen in support. Out it goes. It would have been a very happy birthday yesterday for Michelle Heyman, getting to enjoy it in Matilda's camp, but she's come on here in a situation where it is right down to business. Australia trailing in this game about 2 or 3/4 of the way through the day's action. Here is Heyman in a physical tangle. Nuttis steady on the ball. Now a long pass from Nuttis. Torpy is leading Quintero. It's a sharp turn from Torpy, but King puts a foot on the ball and Panama send it out. Australia remain in their defensive half.
Well, Torpy, she's hardly put a foot wrong this afternoon. Really sound defending. As that first half wore on, she looked to get a little more involved in the attack.
Whistle goes. Australia free kick. Panama thought they were away, not to be. There's Chandra Gonzalez, who's been ticking over in central midfield as the game has gone on. Murphy. Now Taranto. Whistle goes this time Panama's way. And that is Desiree Salazar. The moon boot is on, and she's being wheeled in a wheelchair back to the bench. Doesn't want to watch the rest of the game from the room. She wants to be out there with her teammates.
It looked like a fairly innocuous coming together, that one between Salazar and the run of McNamara. Absolutely no malice in the challenge, but she's obviously come away a little worse for wear.
Here's Quintero for Panama. Waited for Tanner to break wide on the left. Riley Tanner wheels onto the ball. Still Tanner, and can't lift across past the outstretched right foot of Natasha Pryor. But it is behind for a corner, and the wind has really picked up, favouring the end that Panama are attacking.
Not the first time this afternoon Tash Pryor has had to make a lunging, well-timed challenge. Something she does really well. Just reading the body language of her opponent, going to ground at exactly the right moment. That one was crucial.
Panama in no hurry to take the corner kick. Marta Cox going over now to try to send the ball in. It'll favour an in-swinger. The rain may have stopped, but the wind is as gusty as it's been all game, as Marta Cox does go for the in-swinger to the near post. Nevin leans into the header. Tanner watches it bounce over the shoulder. And Australia trying to repel. Gielnik grabbed. And the referee is seemingly reaching for the pocket here or not. Eventually, the yellow card comes out.
And again, I think that's the right call. We've seen on a number of occasions this afternoon Matilda's break through the midfield only to be blatantly pulled back. On that occasion, it was Gielnik. And so it gives Panama a moment to take stock and get their shape set.
Chandra Gonzalez, the player booked. Heyman trying to dink it over to McNamara, but Castillo has done well to interrupt. Rankin backtracking, under pressure from two opponents, but finds Nevin. Pryor. Now it's Chloe Lincoln in goal. Nevin caught by Arus. What's on in the middle? Arus not wasting any time. Pryor leans into a header. Able to keep it away from the Panama attack. The long shot now. Straight across the face, though, from Catherine Castillo.
And Chloe Lincoln watched as that just swept harmlessly across the face of goal in front of her. Castillo, dangerous in those areas. Hasn't quite got a dial in right this afternoon. Let's another look at it. Just pulls the shot a little to the left.
Torpy fouled this time. And another yellow card. They're starting to come with a bit more frequency. Hilary Hyen's turn to join a number of teammates in the book.
Well, just blatant at this point, at any rate. It's Panama's midfield stacked with yellow cards.
McNamara, deflected shot. And headed away by Arus. Emily Van Egmond is seemingly getting a final tactical briefing over on the bench. Taranto battling against Arus, and it goes out for an Australia throw. And Erika Arus has stayed down. There is Emily Van Egmond. It's closing in on Claire Polkinghorne's all-time caps record. This will be number 162 today. Polkinghorne, of course, 169, the all-time most capped international for the Australian women's team. And is this going to be the end of the game for 21-year-old Erika Arus, who's really been one of the standouts for Panama this afternoon? I think she's going to be good to continue on.
It looks to be just a bit of cramp.
So the throw into Heyman, McNamara, it sits up at the penalty spot, shallow clearance, Torpy herring after the ball but can't get there, and King just drives it to the safety of the line. Torpy quickly takes the throw in. Heyman. Taranto calls for the ball in midfield. McNamara. Nevin switches it out to the right-hand side. Gielnik with space to measure across. And it's dealt with at the near post by Baltrip Reyes, albeit conceding a corner in doing so.
Well, intentional from the Matildas. Lovely switch of play from Courtney Nevin. Finds Gielnik in space. And Gielnik's thought was one track, it was the right one. One touch, get the cross in into a dangerous area, the resulting corner. Matildas with just on 15 minutes to play. Plenty of time to score, but they need to go about doing it quickly.
Torpy steps out the run-up of the corner kick. It's going to bend beyond the edge of the box. Murphy, a long shot specialist, blocked away. Panama are awake to the danger and see it out for a throw. Australia are going to ready a double sub. There's going to be another international debutant right into the heat of chasing this deficit. Maybe one more phase of play in the meantime. McNamara, and just kept it in at the last, and Panama thought it was their goal kick, not to be. Australia win the throw instead. Bouncing up to Heyman. King. Murphy trying to wrestle in front of Quintero. Arauz. Rankin wouldn't let her go past. The ball goes out for another Australia throw. Rankin looking for the run of Taranto. Natis cleared it in the end, only as far as Murphy. Alana Murphy runs straight into Castillo. And the whistle goes because it looks like Wendy Natis is down inside the penalty area. So more issues. Panama are going to make a quadruple substitution. Australia have two of their own. Let's talk about the Australian ones. Alex Chidiac comes off for Emily Van Egmond, but what about this? An international debut for Jacinta Galabata Arachi. It has been a moment that many may have never thought was going to come, and yet for the 24-year-old who's currently a free agent, originally from Melbourne, she is on the pitch for the Matildas, a prodigious youngster. She came through the Southeast Piranhas, which was a club that was the River Plate Academy in Melbourne. And on her professional journey, she played for Melbourne City and Perth Glory in the Ninja A-League. And then West Ham, Napoli, Celtic, and most recently Sporting Club. For a moment there, it looked as though she'd forsaken the Matildas and wanted to play for Argentina. And of course, she's got Sri Lankan heritage through her dad, Italian and Argentine heritage through her mum. And what a moment. She gets to make her debut for the Matildas, Jacinta Galabata Arachi.
Well, what an introduction, Teo, and what a special moment for Jacinta Galabata Arachi. From Australia to abroad, England, Italy, Scotland, Portugal, and now in a Matilda shirt. Cap number 240.
She, for those of you who haven't seen her in action, is an attacking midfielder. I remember watching her playing against the boys for Kingston City, Grace, under 15 level. She ran rings around them then, but that is a very, very long time ago to today. In a very different circumstance as well, because the Matildas trail. And Panama, one of their heroes of this game, Wendy Natis, is limping to the sideline to be replaced. How disruptive is this going to be for Panama here as they make a quadruple change?
Well, just over 10 minutes of regulation time remain. No doubt some minutes added to that. And a quadruple change, fresh legs coming on. I imagine for Panama, they'll want to really hold down this 1-0 lead. I wouldn't be surprised if they start slowing things down, sitting back in, players go into ground. We've seen it happen before. But for Emily Van Egmond, in appearance number 162, she'll be looking to pull the strings. And can one of these substitutes, Heyman, Galabata Arachi, find something?
Straight into the action, and now Taranto saved! Australia's best chance of the second half, and the two subs linked up to aplomb. And Farisa Cordova makes her save of the game so far. What an introduction from Galabata Arachi.
Yeah, important touches. And what a moment that would have been for Taranto as well. Solid save down to her left.
So the resulting corner, a new energy. Such a long delay for all those subs to take place. And the game has sprung back to life. Cordova comes through. Players felled in the background, but Pryor dusts herself off and gets back up. And so the players that came off for Panama, Hilary Hine, Wendy Natis, Erica Arauz, all making way. And here's the chance for Taranto, who very nearly scored on international debut. Wasn't able to find the back of the net during the Ninja A-League season, but she has been a regular goal scorer prior to that ACL injury she suffered in the 23-24 campaign. You see there just Australia's second shot on target for the match. Nevin trying to split the defence with one pass, and it is hurriedly cleared away. One of the subs, Rebecca Espinoza, who has come on.
Well, Panama's defence were worried. That was a clever ball from Nevin, just finding its way through the lines. Had options, had Heyman, had McNamara.
Lynette Cedeno is the player that's won the throw in there. She was one of the goal scorers against France at the 2023 Women's World Cup. Plays for Turbine Potsdam in Germany, so they've brought on a very handy replacement here for the final 10 minutes in an attacking sense. have Panama. Here is Cedeno. And is able to win another throw-in for her team. Nevin intercepted. Marta Cox just trying to drive it forward by any means. Nevin gets a second chance and this time clears to the line. Castillo, sweeping ball to the edge of the box. Tanner caught behind Torpy. However, she's wheeling herself onto the ball here, Riley Tanner, and is going to spin this back around and try to keep Panama on the attack. Torpy sticks to task, and it will be a Panama throw down the right end as far as they're concerned. Throw-in not controlled by any means, so a goal kick the result. Australia make a defensive stand there, and Alen Hernandez runs back to position, the 29-year-old from Santa Fe. One of that quartet of subs made by Panama that are trying to cling on to a 1-0 lead. Murphy, as the ball rolls on to Torpy. Australia away through the right. Here's McNamara. Holly McNamara puts the cross into the near defender. Will get another opportunity though. Chases down the loose ball. Entangled by Hernandez, but is able to break away once again. Slight challenge goes flying in. And the call is a goal kick. So Panama, through King and Hernandez, have done really well.
Well, the run from McNamara had everything but the cross, which was blocked really well. Again, she just backs her speed. Eagle eye says that's a goal kick. Holly McNamara had different thoughts about it.
Such a tough tackling game. Panama team getting closer and closer to really a landmark win. Arguably the biggest they've ever had in women's football was when they rolled Mexico in 2018. The ball from Taranto deflects down to Farisa Cordoba. Of course, they beat Paraguay in the Intercontinental Playoff to get to the World Cup, match taking place in New Zealand. Certainly in terms of what it meant, more so than the opponent, that was the biggest win they've ever enjoyed. This would be such a scalp for them, though. The 56th ranked nation. Australia chasing the game. And Lincoln in trouble. Tanner went slip-sliding past, and Lincoln able to escape in the nick of time. Panama is still going to get a free kick, but they could have had so much more.
They do get a free kick, but the deft touch of Chloe Lincoln sells it one way, cuts back in. Well, it's an assured touch, but it was a nervy one for everyone watching.
Well, as a goalkeeper, you wipe the slate clean, you get ready for the next phase of play, and Chloe Lincoln has a defensive wall to set. Players to organise here. Because just about anything over a dead ball could be reasonably considered shooting range for Marta Cox. And here she is, trying to consolidate Panama's lead. Marta Cox, let's rip. And right between the eyes, Lincoln makes the save.
Sure hands from Chloe Lincoln. Well, we've seen Marta Cox from that kind of distance against some of the very best in the world, and we saw the outcome. Not the case today. Strong set of gloves from Lincoln. Slippery conditions as well. Those ones sometimes easier or harder to hold on to than they look.
Van Egmond. Pryor. Murphy in an acre of space. A chance to dictate from the centre of the park. Murphy sends it over to the left. Jamila Rankin making the run. Crowd finding their voice. McNamara. And the Panama defence has enough numbers stacked in the way. Corner kick is the call. Australia are going to make 2 more substitutions and give 2 more international debuts, but they're going to want perhaps to take this corner kick first. Is the height of Heyman going to come to the fore here? Jamila Rankin to take. The referee is just going to lay down the law inside the penalty area. Tash Pryor. And also Rebecca Espinoza here getting the telling off. And now the corner can be taken. Here's Rankin. At the far post, Heyman was the target. It sets up Pryor a chance and held on to by the grateful gloves of Cordoba.
Well, a really good moment for the Matildas. Pryor looks a little sore after the challenge. The outswinging ball is good, and it's defended well on that first time by Panama. Dropped a little dangerously to a congested area. Panama player has gone down. Just can't quite squeeze its way through past a lot of traffic.
And so a double substitution for Australia coming off Caitlin Torpey. And she's replaced by Alexia Apostolakis for her international debut. Apostolakis, 19 years old at Melbourne City. Her junior club, Forest Rangers in Sydney. She used to be a Western Sydney Wanderer. And she has Greek heritage on dad's side and Filipino heritage on mum's side. Holly McNamara comes off and Grace Kuilamu comes on. The young striker, only 18 years of age. 1 season back from an ACL of her own, suffered unfortunately as a teenager. Souths United in the Queensland Academy of Sport. She's the youngest of 5, Grace, and her parents are both migrants. Dad from Fiji and mum from Romania. Does nothing sum up modern Australia like that? A double sub, 2 Australian players come on, and the parents and the heritage is from all 4 corners of the globe. That's what's so beautiful about this game and this team.
Well, the World Game is called as such for a reason. Alexia Apostolakis put through her paces for that first ball to chase over the top, and for Apostolakis, well, she had a standout season at Melbourne City, really grew in stature, grew in confidence. And for Grace Kuilamu as well, recovered from an ACL injury last season with the Brisbane Roar, returned in fine form this year. 2 players for the future. Really great to see them, and a big congratulations to both of those players on their Matildas debuts.
And in the short term, Kuilamu is a goal sneak, so maybe could be the answer to find an equaliser here. None of these 4 debutantes will ever forget Bunbury, but they'll remember it far more fondly if they can find an equaliser. Panama are going to answer with a sub of their own, and it's Marta Cox who is going to make way. There's Kuilamu waiting in the wings for the chance to do a bit of attacking on goal. And the player coming on is going to be Carmen Montenegro, a 24-year-old into Panama in the Panamanian League. And Marta Cox has been everything you could possibly want from a captain today, Grace.
Yeah, there's a reason we spoke about her in the pre-game show. Quality leading the middle of the park into the final third. Chances, dictates everything in the tempo of the game. And takes a well-deserved rest in the final blushes of this 90 minutes.
And here is Apostolakis. Straight away, the Matildas on the attack, but can they create a chance? Adriana Taranto stinging the fingertips of Farisa Cordoba. Actually, what the Matildas have to show for their toil in the second half. Heyman won't get a run at it here as the ball is cleared long. Australia having to backtrack quickly. Pryor finds Lincoln. 4th official yet to raise the board is going to tell Australia how many minutes of stoppage time they have left to try and avoid defeat. Lincoln. It is 6 additional, so plenty of time for the Matildas. But that pass is going to give possession back to Panama.
Well, after a really nice pass out from goal from Chloe Lincoln, really capable on both feet, found Jamila Rankin perfectly in stride.
Joe Montemuro has emptied the bench. He's made the subs. It's in the hands of the players now. Can they find an equaliser on a wet and windy afternoon in the smallest Australian town to host the Matildas since 2007? Everyone in a hurry to get this throw-in taken. Maria Antonia Is. She can see her Panama team closing in on the finish line. Van Egmond. Apostolakis. Down the line. Kualamu. And now Van Egmond with the return ball. In comes the cross. Haven's first touch loops up. It's there to be won. Taranto still bullocking forward. And even though there is no from the Panama team, the corner is given.
Well, bustling work from Taranto. Doesn't give up on the chase, and Kualamu positive first early touches. Surrounded by Panama players. 1, 2, 3 to get through, and Taranto does not give up on that opportunity.
Here's the corner. Van Egmond drifts it in. Pryor first head. It pops up. Galabata Arachi. Not quite. Out it loops.
Well, delivery cleverly away from the goalkeeper off the boot of Van Egmond. Tash Pryor, the obvious target, just peels off her defender. Galabata Arachi, the outside of the right foot. Couldn't quite steer the shot on target.
Two and a half of 6 additional minutes have ticked by. Cordoba has handed off responsibility for goal kicks. It's going to be Catherine Castillo, who's played the full 90 out there. And Australia are going to get the ball back. And they've got to go end to end. It starts with Chloe Lincoln. Now Courtney Nevin. Left-footed pass is intercepted by Tanner. Montenegro didn't have possession for long. Van Egmond came in and took it away. Apostolakis. Van Egmond from the base of midfield. Steps around one. And the diagonal ball holds up, and it holds up kindly for Cedeno, who goes to ground and draws a foul with real expertise. And it's going to be a yellow card as well for Adriana Taranto.
Little side-eye to the referee from Taranto. Probably can't argue too much with that one.
So a yellow ticket on international debut for Taranto. More seconds off the clock for Panama, and they are just going to volunteer the ball straight back from the resulting free kick as it skids off the turf. You can see it's been a foul-filled game, 29 in total between the two sides. Lincoln. The ball holds up on the wind, but it suits Heyman just fine. Nicked off Heyman's toes. Rankin put a foot in. Murphy stepped out of trouble. And Australia keep the ball, but they're going backwards. 2 minutes of additional time to go. Apostolakis. Kualamu. Back inside for Van Egmond. Murphy. Nevin. Van Egmond again. And now Panama drop off. They're going to allow Pryor to advance. Pryor tries to pinpoint a teammate. It skims on here. And it's cleared from the centre of defence. Well done by Espinoza. Cedeno took on Galabata Arachi and sold the collision for all it was worth, but the referee is not interested. No whistle. Play continues as we tick into the final minute of the 6. And it's going to sit up almost for Van Egmond. Espinoza clears. Cedeno's back on her feet, returning to formation for Panama. Can they hold out for 60 more seconds? Van Egmond cuts it to Apostolakis. Now Kualamu on the wing. We've seen one teasing cross already from Grace Kualamu. Puts it in. Heyman left standing. Murphy tees it up. Panama's charmed goal has not been breached.
Well, tempting on debut is Alexia Apostolakis, and Michelle Heyman. You'd put everything on her, knocking that into the back of the net, finding the finish. But just leaning back ever so slightly, she steers it over the crossbar of the goal, and she looks to the heaven. She knows more than anyone else.
Panama played well for 95.5 minutes, and then when they'd exhausted every other option, they still had to say a prayer and get a big slice of luck. And somehow, as stoppage time expires, their lead is intact, and they are down the right end as far as they are concerned. And chasing the ball here and just making it awkward for Pryor. Hard against the line is Montenegro. How generous is the referee feeling? The whistle goes. Look what it means to Panama. And the Matildas have been rolled in Bunbury. Panama came with a plan. They've executed it, and they take a 1-0 win thanks to Shirlene King's goal. There is the 19-year-old hero of Panama and their coach, Maria Antonia Is. How she prepared this team. It is one of, if not the biggest win that Panama have enjoyed in women's football. 56th in the world, rolls 15th. It sets the stage for game 2 of this series, and it is defeat for Australia. The full-time score, Australia 0, Panama 1. And so the quadruple change from Panama didn't disrupt them. They were disciplined to the finish line. They did give up one big chance. But Michelle Heyman, when the ball fell to her, the reflexes weren't there. Over the bar it went. Let's go down to the post-game. Tara Rushton, take it away.
Yeah, thanks so much for that, Teo. I'm joined by Chloe Berryhill. Chloe, a tough afternoon at the office, some really tough conditions out here, and Panama, well and truly, they came with their physicality. How was that for you? How was that to take? We were expecting that physicality from them here this afternoon.
Yeah, of course we were. Obviously, it's not the result that we want, but it's building blocks for us, and we have a new coach and a new system, and we've got new players, and we've changed over in the middle of this camp. So, look, we've got a lot to look forward to, and we have to go back to training.
Tell me about it. Changeover. 33 players in the squad, 6 players out, 6 players in. What does that feel like?
We're just blooding players at the moment. Where we've just had 4 new players come in. We're playing a new system, we're playing a new way, and we've got to give respect to the other team. They're technical, and we're just, trying to iron out some kinks.
One of those players, Adriana Taranto, what was it like to see one of your teammates make her debut today?
Very proud to be able to hug her and get her on the field. She deserves absolutely everything, and she did so well when she came out.
And Chloe, what about for you? You get a new coach, you get Joe Montemuro, the Montemuro Matildas, trying to insert and inject his play into the side, but also getting another opportunity for you, knowing the Asian Cup is on the horizon. You're one of the senior players in this team. Does it feel like a second chance at all?
Absolutely. I think I've just been trying to work in the background and just keep myself positive and being able to just trust the process. But it's one of those things, there's attributes that I think that I have that I can give into this team. But obviously it's just being able to conform to whatever Joe wants me to do and be able to be there for the team.
How does it feel to play under him, Chloe?
It's amazing. I've waited a very long time to be able to do it. I've watched in the shadows and been against him but never played underneath him. And he's an amazing technician, and what he wants and how he wants us to play is brilliant. And it's coming. Just wait. It's coming. I promise. We're just building.
I'm going to let you get warm, but also I love the new surname. Suits you, Chloe Berryhill.
Thank you so much.
See you very soon, Chloe. Look, we are off to a short break. Do not go anywhere. On the other side of the break, we're going to hear from Joe Montemuro. Don't go anywhere.